My name is J.J. Balaban. I'm a media consultant, a Democratic media consultant based in Philadelphia. You know, the reality is it's very hard to predict 2 years out, and there's a lot of revisionist history where people say, oh, we knew what was going to happen in 2010. And if you actually look at what people thought 2 years ago was going to happen in 2010, it's very different than what actually happened. And by that token, what happens in 2012 is very hard to predict. But at the risk of doing this on videotape, I'll put forward some predictions, which are the Republicans are basically going to continue. You're going to see a lot of what they've done for the past 2 years, and why wouldn't you? Because basically, Republicans were wildly successful in 2010. The danger for them is that the electorate in 2012 will be fundamentally different. If you look at the 2010 electorate compared to the 2008 electorate, radically different electorates. The percentage of African Americans fell sharply. The percentage of young voters fell sharply. The percentage of Hispanic voters fell sharply. Those groups are likely to re-enter the electorate in 2012, and the Republican message may not be as popular then. The challenge for Democrats, of course, is making sure that that electorate in 2012 is a lot closer to the electorate of 2008 as opposed to the electorate of 2010, which was very hostile. Well, I think the fundamental difference is that we're not located in Washington. We have offices in Philadelphia and San Diego. And what that allows us to do is kind of avoid some of the inside the Beltway thinking. I think the National Party was kind of slow to recognize the unpopularity of what was going on in Washington because people were a part of it. Often what we'll see is that there's an over-reliance from some of our competitors in Washington on kind of Washington jargon and language that doesn't necessarily translate out in the hinterlands where most people live. So, for example, I remember doing an ad and seeing an ad on S-chip. Now, I don't know. It was criticizing a Republican member of Congress for opposing S-chip. I just don't know many people who know what S-chip means as opposed to children's health care. And I think often Republicans are actually better at this than Democrats, but in general it's sometimes a Washington problem of assuming people know what these things mean, and in reality they're acronyms that don't mean anything. I think fundamentally the difference is, if you look back at the past several years and our track record of actually winning elections in November, that distinguishes us from some of our competitors. We've always believed that fundamentally it's about winning, and that may seem obvious, but you'd be surprised how many times there's talk about races that didn't actually end up in winning and that did things potentially to please the client as opposed to actually win elections.